And welcome to another episode.
What's going on, Mike?
Yo.
V.
I'm APE.
What? All right. So, man, there's been a lot of shit going on in the world.
I've been Ubering my life away. I'm kind of sick of
You're tired
kicking
of it?
people up.
Yeah, I feel you.
I picked up some really ratchet chick.
Oh, fuck.
And she had like a full-blown convo in the back, like aggressive as fuck. Like on speakerphone.
Oh, shit. One of those.
It's one thing to just be talking regularly, but to have it on speaker, so like everybody could just hear what the fuck you guys are talking about. And yeah, I think she works at Burger King, and like, yo,
Sounds about right.
She was going off on like her manager, and like she was just cursing and like this and that. Like I was just like, Jesus Christ. So that's been
That sounds like it's annoying. Yeah.
Yeah, the Uber.
Holy fuck, bro.
Uber's
How's your mental health, bro? How you feeling?
I've been
You sleeping all right?
Actually, I haven't, bro.
You haven't?
Dude, I haven't. I'm not gonna lie to you. I've been sleeping pretty fucking late.
And your mood?
My mood's been okay.
Have you been very irritable or? Sometimes in men, depression can appear as, more irritability,
Getting irritated easily?
Getting very irritated instead of just straight up sadness,
I have gotten a little irritated.
A little irritated?
A little bit.
A little bit.
A little bit.
All right,
I won't lie to you, dog.
Okay.
I might be a little depressed.
All right.
But this is why we're on VNA. We gotta discuss these things.
Let's see if we can diagnose Mike with depression. I have a PhD in making shit up.
Speaking of mental illnesses, I was on Twitter, and like one of the funniest videos that I seen recently is like Kanye denouncing his bipolarness and then just saying like, guys, I'm really just autistic, just like Rain Man. Like have you seen Rain Man the movie?
Yeah, I've seen it. Yeah.
He described him like him, so I was like, wow.
So he says he's autistic now.
he denounced as crazy, like nothing is going on with him. He's like, yo, guys, I'm just really autistic. This is like a little old though. This is like when he was like on his but I seen it not so long ago, and I'm like, what the fuck is Kanye on, bro? Like, dude.
I don't know what the fuck he's on about, but
Nah, he's been quiet though. I think he's done with like his little.
I don't know. Maybe he's going through the depressive side of the bipolar
manic
phase.
episode stopped.
Yeah, maybe he's just on the depressed side.
He ran out of fuel, bro.
You never know how deep that depression can go, Mike.
Bruh, I gotta ask you, dog. Your honest take on this. Do you know the basketball player Jamal Crawford?
Yeah, he's very familiar.
Yeah. Have you heard his take recently? He was on a podcast, and he was speaking about hip-hop music.
No, fuck. What do you say?
I mean, let me see. I could play the video right quick. It's really quick.
Like, the dominance outweighs the number. You can't change the game and say, oh, this guy's more points than me, he's better. No, that's just beyond that. Like, Jay-Z's effect on hip-hop is bigger than any album sales that Eminem will have. You see what I'm saying? Like, that's just how.
And that's pretty much.
So he said that
Jay-Z's
the impact is much greater than any impact.
His effect on hip hop is bigger than any album sales Eminem will have.
I mean, there is one thing in hip hop and in culture in general that like whoever gets to do something first gets credit for it, and then ends up influencing more people later on. That's basically like. How they say, time is money.
Right.
It's like the more time you have a dollar invested, the more money it makes. Well, the more time you have a culture or
in
art,
the game, just doing,
the more influence it has on people. So Jay-Z was there first.
Yeah, but Eminem wasn't that far off either. Like he wasn't like so. Like he came out a little after Jay and shit. But like just that quote though, his effect on hip hop is bigger than any. Dude, Eminem is the most. Streamed. He's sold the most records ever.
I think there's a lot of shit that happens with Eminem because of like a lot of people, they want to either give him credit or take it away because of the race. Like a lot of people gravitated towards him because he was basically the only white guy in the scene for a while.
100%.
And
when he first came out, 100%.
Right.
And it was like, that's like a unicorn. Like the shit he was rapping and like his style as a white guy, like it wasn't seen very often. Like he wasn't Vanilla Ice, you know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. He was very lyrical. You know, he was very witty.
100%.
And he was very skilled, and he also had a major contract. You know. So,
but I don't know if that's 100% true though, cause like listen,
there's people that try to give him credit and take it away.
No, people.
I think there's both sides, and I think I'm talking like just in that dimension of race.
Forget that.
Like,
people believe he's a guest in hip hop.
A guest in hip hop?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't feel like you need permission from people. It's like fuck you.
But
I go in and out as I please. Eat a dick.
But that's how they feel. Like especially black hip hop artists. Like they'll be like, "Oh no, this is black music."
Some of them though.
Not all, of course. A lot of people respect them. But like, dude, just in general, Eminem is way more famous than Jay-Z though.
I think at the world stage, yeah.
Globally.
I think globally, yeah.
100%. So
Yeah.
like, how true is that then? Because maybe, I mean, Eminem's huge, bro. Like anybody knows who Eminem is. Like he's fucking, especially versus Jay-Z.
But like everybody knows who Vanilla Ice is too. You know, that's
not like Eminem, bro.
You understand what I mean? Like the thing about Eminem is like what is his music actually have compared to that of Jay-Z? And I'd say that like it's hard to judge it in a way because like Eminem, I feel like he was much more based than Jay-Z.
100%.
And he really gave less fucks about
way more vulnerable, extremely.
Right, and Jay-Z is sort of the tough man shit.
Yeah, he has that persona to him, drug dealer.
Right.
Like, you feel me? Like that's what he grew up doing. So he has that like cool guy swag.
Yeah,
like
the Dead Presidents, man.
Exactly.
You know?
I mean, I think Jay-Z is probably top 3 most influential, biggest effect on hip hop. But like, I don't know, I just don't like how people use M as like the scapegoat always. Like, you know what I mean? He's always the guy that they use.
That's why I said that like it's hard to get reviews of Eminem that are like more impartial because a lot of people have wanted to like take away credit from the shit that he's done and said that because of his race he sold a lot more or whatever, and then a lot of other people have wanted to say that like, no, actually, in spite of his race, you know, he actually was able to do this. And it's like, let's not judge any of that shit. That doesn't matter. What really matters is like the music itself, I think, is what speaks to it. And the way the MC presents himself. Like,
well, what do you think?
What do I mean, it's hard for me to choose between them, man. Because like Jay-Z, like it's true, he did sort of like lay out like sort of a hip hop archetype, you know, sort of like an entire...
Nah, for sure.
Like subculture that represents a persona that's like this dude. He really is out the mud, man.
No, I mean he really did do the shit he's talking about.
And the way that he rapped about it, it was very like it was like I'm doing all this illegal shit, but I'm very classy at the same time.
Very subtle. He's not. It's
Yeah, it was very it was very like classy too. It was like I'm a businessman basically.
Yeah.
You know.
But really just drug dealing, like.
Right.
Nah, and a lot of rappers have said that, like, before Jay-Z was even famous or, like, started, like, rapping, like, bro, he's had money, like, since fucking young as hell. Like,
yeah, that's how he was able to prop up his entire career, like, to be able to put it out there.
He made Rockefeller and shit. But damn, overall though, like I think I love both artists, you know, like I grew up listening to both, so it's really tough. But like damn, I fucking old Eminem was classic. Like
I still to this day though I do listen more to Jay-Z than Eminem, but that's just because I haven't really taken much time for Eminem shit.
You mean like currently, like the shit that they're putting out both? I mean Jay-Z doesn't put out much shit, so
no, I think some of the best shit that Jay-Z put out was the shit that had nothing to do with like. Because he took a woke shift, right? Don't get me wrong, hip-hop was always woke, right?
When was that?
Yeah, when he started making, like, the Carters and shit. Like, when he ended up getting caught cheating on Beyonce and shit.
You think he started getting woke on that?
Yeah, he started talking about, all this...
Okay. I need to know.
It was pretty woke shit, but it was also, like, pretty... It was still the business-savvy shit. Like, for example, the story of OJ...
Okay.
Right? Like, that, I think, was excellent.
He portrayed that perfectly.
That was excellent,
perfectly.
Yeah.
Nah, for sure. That's just fire. I fucking love that song.
And I think in terms of M, I really do feel like he's... I just haven't fucked with his new shit.
Yeah? It's tough, right?
I haven't fucked with his new shit, no.
It doesn't hit the same. I think because he was such on a high, Like
the low is a bitch. That doesn't mean it's not good. I just haven't been particularly interested in it. You know, I've gravitated more towards Jay-Z shit compared to that.
Nah, I mean, Jay has a more polished, like, sound. Like, it's like it's crafted perfectly.
He has a character too. That's like a character that's pretty. I'm not saying it's a fake. I'm saying it's
how it's portrayed in the music.
He presents a character and he sort of invites you to like be that fucking sort of person in a way. I think there's a lot of, especially, I mean, in tracks like The Story of OJ and in Dead Presidents, it's almost like fucking motivating you to do that type of shit. He's sort of like saying like, look at this, you know, now do it.
Yeah, music's super motivational, bro.
And I get a lot more of that from Jay-Z than from Eminem. And from Eminem, I tend to get like a sad vibe.
A lot of sad vibes.
And then when it's not a sad vibe, it's a comedic vibe. And then when it's not a comedic vibe, then it's more like a lyrical vibe.
Just going straight hip-hop. There's no... Nah, but yeah. Fucking 50 heard that and then was like, yo, M has a way bigger impact than Hove.
I mean, he would say that, though,
I mean,
right?
of course, yeah. That's the guy who, like, signed him, fined him and shit, so...
Anyway, that's pretty much that's about as much as I can say on that matter, bro. What else you got for us, man? What's going on here?
Bro, did you see the fucking... there was, like, a streamer who was, like, crying because apparently he accidentally revealed that he was watching deep fake porn videos of, like, these girl streamers on Twitch. Like, you ever heard of Pokimane?
Yeah.
Like, he pretty much...
I would never feel, like, mad if somebody caught me watching a deep fake porn of Pokimane. Like, she has a great face.
Yeah, you know what deep fakes are too, right? Like,
yeah, I know what they are. That's what I'm saying. So if I manage to, like, deep fake her shit...
Find one,
like, yo, I'm saying, like, Pokimane looks good, you know? Like, what's there to be... You know, what's there to feel bad about?
And, so, yeah, like, he was, like, fucking... Because apparently, like, when he was, like, using the computer and, like...
He should own it.
I don't know, but the weird thing is he was with his wife too, like on stream, and they were both crying, and like he was.
Oh, fuck.
I swear to God, bro.
Oh, that changes it. That changes.
And apparently he's like a big streamer. I don't know. I just seen it on Twitter like not so long ago.
He was crying in relationship to like his wife, or...
That's why I had so many questions. I didn't understand. I'm like, wait, what's going on here? So I had to read comments. Apparently, he bought these porn videos, the deep fakes.
He bought them shits?
I don't know, apparently. And then while he was streaming, he like... Because when you're streaming, like, bro, anything that you show on the screen...
It's gonna pop up.
That's it.
You can't get it out. It's there.
Don't get fucked up. So, like, somebody screenshotted it, and it said deep fake Pokimane. It was like I think it was like an image of like some like porn shit. And
fuck.
So, like, yeah, he got caught. I guess he has like a big community on Twitch. So, like, he was tearing up, saying sorry, you know, I respect women.
I don't think he should apologize for it, though.
But that's the thing. I was so questioned because I'm like, why is he crying, though?
Who is he apologizing to? I mean, Pokimane, if you're listening to this, like, yo, you should be grateful for those looks, lady.
And then Pokimane tweeted, I believe, stop sexualizing Twitch streamers or some bullshit like that. I was like, oh my God.
That's why you gotta own that type of shit. Like,
you feel me?
When it's something that's stupid, bro, like, just own it.
Bro, I would have had my balls on the fucking table. Like,
yo. If you're like a foot guy, right? If you're a foot guy and everybody's like, bro, that's the creepiest shit to be into, bro. Like, what's up with you, bro? Like, and you get caught.
Just own up to it.
Like, just own that shit, bro. Like, suck toes in public after you get caught doing that shit. And they'll be like, he doesn't give a fuck. And see, there's the power of being based.
Being based has a lot of benefits.
Oh, it's very, very beneficial.
Yo, when you're based and you truly are based, like, and nothing can phase you.
There's a lot of shit that they just can't get to you with, you know?
Bro, like, a lot of people wouldn't be canceled if they were just based.
Damn, bro, put that on your tombstone right there.
But yeah, that dude was fucking tearing up, and honestly, I would have just been like, yo, fuck it. You guys caught me, bro. Like, it is what it is, dog.
Yeah. Yeah, I think...
a brother want to watch some porn, just let a man be.
And with Pokimane being, like, all woke and shit...
She would be woke, though.
You
That's
know,
just like
you gotta own it even more in cases like that.
I would have doubled down, tweeted, and be like, Pokimane's cute.
She's fine as fuck. You got like make it a little bit vulgar.
Pokemon is cute, right?
Not disrespect. Yeah, she looks great.
I haven't seen like a body.
I don't give a fuck.
Physique. She's not bad though, right? What is she?
She looks great.
Is she like Hispanic? She ain't Hispanic.
No, dude, she's like I don't know what the fuck she is. She's a combination of something though.
She's very ambiguous.
She's
like
a combo. She's a combo.
Her racism, like like her ethnicity. I don't know. Like it's hard to like.
She's definitely exotic.
There we go.
She's very exotic. And that right, Pokemon, if you hear this, you're very exotic.
She wouldn't listen to this.
And that's a good thing.
Yo, a black guy died from some black officers, Black 5.
Let's get into this.
That's the newest news thing.
Gentleman's name is Tyre. And I'm sorry, but I did forget the last name.
Was it Nicholas or something?
No, it was Tyre something.
Well, rest in peace to Tyre, man.
And I'll be honest with you, yeah, that was a brutal video.
I actually didn't see the video, I just heard about it.
And honestly, I mean, I've seen the shit that comes, like it seems like this was like a really good dude.
Yeah?
Like from what I've seen. Like he wasn't doing anything really as far as I could tell.
Give us some context cuz I'm lost. What ended up happening? How did he end up dying?
They pulled him over. I'm not sure why. After they pulled him over, he was pretty confused because he had no idea what the fuck was going on. And then they were giving him these contradictory orders.
Okay.
Like, give me your hand, and he's already holding his hand.
Okay.
You're already grabbing his hand already.
Right.
How can I give you my hand?
Right.
Get down on the ground. And he's already on the ground. But they're like, belly on the floor. And he's like, all right. And he's trying to move. But when he tries to move, then they attack him even more. So it's like, how if you give me an order and then I do it and then you hurt me for trying to do it, then how am I supposed to follow it, right?
Right.
And then eventually he just it looks to me like he was just panicking because of how terrible the experience was.
I mean, hell yeah,
and
bro.
he got up and he actually started running from the police.
No.
And basically...
They shot him?
No, they were tasing him.
Okay.
And he takes off his shirt, and then they end up grabbing him again. And then once they grab him, I think they handcuffed him, and then one cop was like holding him, and the other one was like punching him in the face.
Jesus Christ.
Like punching him and I mean hard, bro. Like punching him, like trying to knock this guy the fuck out. They threw like 4 big ass swings like that.
Damn.
Left him on the floor. After they left him on the floor, then the actual, I think the paramedics and ambulance showed up. And this man's, bro, he was like on the floor, knocked the fuck like out.
Bro, I seen the hospital pic. That was looking crazy.
Yes. So I'm saying this man, like, he basically was brutalized. And these people show up. And when they show up, it was like the paramedics I'm talking about.
Right.
It's like 20 minutes.
Damn.
Of them, like, not doing shit to help this man. And then after that, you end up seeing something similar. You end up seeing that the police arrive. They take him to the hospital. I mean, not the police. The ambulance arrives. They take him to the hospital. 3 days later, he dies. And
from what though? Like
from
trauma?
From that.
From trauma, just like all that.
Yeah, it was just the impact of what they did to him.
Damn.
I mean, bro, if you can't, you understand. It's 5 guys. This is a dude. He's just a skinny dude.
And for no apparent reason, though? Like, I
don't know what happened. All I know is that they pulled him over. But nothing that I saw after they pulled him over seemed sensible.
Fucking pigs, man.
So that just sucks that happened. But, of course, like everything in America, it became a racial issue.
How in the world did it become racial? If it's the same, it's just black people.
Well, I assume that at some point a Democrat or a Republican came in, and if it was a Democrat first, they probably said something like, oh, this is a consequence of white supremacy.
Tariq Nasheed says some dumbass shit like that.
And then you see the Republicans is like, I'd love to see the Democrats try to play this off as white supremacy, or the Democrats are going to say that it's white supremacy even though it was 5 black cops.
It's 5 black cops, but it's rooted all in by white people, blah blah blah. Like, I was like, what the fuck are we really doing, bro?
It's basically the idea. Yeah, it's basically some sort of metaphysical bullshit that there's this system.
There's no accountability. Somewhere
in the ether, there's this system that has this magical impact, and that it explains.
It's not even that though. I heard like the police department is like, most of them is like 80%, 90% black.
That doesn't do anything to the woke folk, because the problem is they see it as a system. And they assume without any evidence that all of these guys did that because of the way the system works, right? And that it was because of that. It wasn't that they were assholes or that they shouldn't have been cops in the first place. It's that the system. So the system, whatever the system is at the moment, can be used as an excuse to say this is why these people acted this way.
I can't believe people try to use that dumb shit. Like, there's not even, like, how dumb can you be to really just, like, take off, like, that's some victim shit, bro. Like, first of all, this shit. All right, we're still recording. Like, I can't believe, I seen Tariq Nasheed try to, like, defend it. He was saying, like, notice how they're not how they haven't talked about the white officers that was involved or something. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, was there any other officers involved?
I don't know. I heard from some tweets or some shit that there were, but I don't know have any evidence for or against.
And these 5 black guys they got charged for murder, right?
I don't know. I think they are getting charged. And to be frank, I mean, like, fuck, bro. If you don't get charged for that, what do you get charged with? Like, for me, that was like the George Floyd thing is another case where I'm like, I mean, goddamn, bro. Even if he was on fentanyl, you still fucking were extremely negligent at least. Like, at the very least, you were extremely negligent.
Yeah, for sure.
And at the very worst, you actively set out to hurt a person.
Yeah, that's one thing I don't agree with the Republican side. They try to, like, use George Floyd. Like, I get it. Like, nobody wants to try to make him seem like some hero.
I don't like the police state shit. I don't like the defense of a police state.
What do you mean? What is that?
Like, this idea that, like, a cop can come over and, you know, they can justify whatever ridiculous use of force, and then the person will be like, well, what would you have done in that situation, and how would you have done? It's like, bruh, you have that responsibility as a cop, and a lot of this, what I see is just terrible fucking cops. Like, in that case, for example, it's like, bro, there's 5 cops. There's one skinny dude.
Why is there 5 guys on this one guy?
And you can basically throw that guy in the back. I mean, I swear to God, bro, like, do you guys not know anything about how to, like, grab a person and throw them in there? Like, fucking nurses hold people back.
They were power tripping that day for sure.
You know, like, this is ridiculous. It makes no fucking sense. And they loved it. They bragged about what they had done to this guy.
Nah.
And he wasn't dead, obviously, yet, but
they bragged about
it,
like, while he was in the hospital?
How they were punching him. No, like, right when they were waiting and shit.
Oh.
Like, you can see in the cameras and shit.
Oh, shit. God damn.
And it was fucked up. They were bragging about how they punched them, like, hard as fuck, and it was...
What the fuck?
Yeah, they were bragging about that shit.
Fuck those dudes, bro.
And so that happened, you know?
Damn, that's such a fucking tough one. I mean, America really needs to step it up with, like, helping...
I mean, we sort of fucked up the system even more. Where did this happen? This happened in the same city that George Floyd died in.
For real?
Right. This is Minneapolis.
Nah. Wasn't it in Memphis?
No, this was Minneapolis, I think.
Okay, maybe I'm wrong.
Was it Memphis?
I thought it was Memphis.
Actually, I might be wrong. Who the fuck knows?
5 black.
Now I have to look this shit up because I don't want to be...
Spreading misinfo? We are the Misinfo podcast, right?
Yeah, but I don't want to lie about some shit like that.
No, I'm blind. Yeah, it was Memphis, actually.
It was Memphis?
Yeah, it was Memphis. Court records show that all 5 former officers, yeah. All right. Yeah, but America need to do something with the police departments, bro.
See, here's Al Sharpton, apparently, allegedly, saying that if he was white, right, if Tyre Nichols... man who's dead now, was white, that police wouldn't have beat him like that. It's like, well, I mean...
What's your take on that, Abe? Let's
get to it. My take on that is that
you don't like this.
Police have brutally killed white people as well, and...
as much, though?
As much. I mean, police do kill more white people than black people on
an average?
On average, yeah. There's more white people, though. And then if you look at it, like, how do you want to judge the interactions? Because one of the things is, like, if you take a look at it, you really have to take a look at how many police interactions there are. So if you have, for example, 60 million police interactions per year for white people.
Sure.
And 40 million for white people.
You mean black people?
No. For white people.
Okay, well, you said it twice. I'm confused.
If black people have more interactions with the police, then it's more likely
that that's going
to happen because there's more time spent in a situation that involves law enforcement.
Sure.
Right. So, and that of course happens to be the case.
Now, right? But what's the root of that? Like,
yeah, well, you'd have to ask, what is the root of that? I mean, if you look at crime,
are those stops were they justified, most of them?
If you look at crime statistics, right?
Okay.
You do see that there's more crime in black neighborhoods, and you do see that if there's more crime, obviously you're gonna need a larger police presence, and obviously the police are gonna be more on edge.
Rightfully so, I guess. Okay. Yeah.
And then it just stands to reason.
Right.
That this is what happens. Like, all right. Like, if you look at it by race, like the amount of murders, right?
Okay.
Like the majority of murders in the United States are accounted for by African Americans, right?
Okay.
That's the majority. I think it's about 54%.
Okay.
Right, at a certain year, and then you also have to consider, African Americans, 13% of the population. Right. So if you're 54,
low margin.
That's a huge margin.
Right.
Now, I don't want people to get it confused. That doesn't. This is a minority of black people, primarily people that are. A lot of it has to do with gangbanging, honestly.
Is that most of it?
A lot of it does have to do with gangbanging. We can't. I mean.
Or is it just also the environments that they're in?
The environment.
It doesn't have to always be gangbanging specifically.
No,
though.
it's not. It's not always. But that plays a significant role in it.
Sure.
Like, that does play a significant role. This back and forth is like, you kill this guy, I kill this guy,
right.
And then the failed robberies and hitting licks and somebody,
Crazy
all of that,
shit like that, right?
All of that sort of shit that involves violence, right? Now, of course, people could chalk all that up, and if you're as lazy as the critical theory people, you just say, well, that's the systems that reproduce white supremacy that cause that to happen. They're doing that to black people, to.
How specifically are they doing that to black people?
Oh, you know how it works, bro. It's systemic racism. It's everywhere. It's in the air. It's all over the place.
They need to give a concrete answer on that, though. They can't just say,
when they say it's a system, that's not going to be a concrete answer. And by the way, even if they gave a concrete answer, like, that concrete answer, you still need to support it empirically. Like, you still got to have evidence for it. Otherwise, you can't really know that that's the cause, right? It's like, and this idea that there is a cause, like one cause.
That's the thing. Everything... Fucking the United States is so big. There's so many different type of cultures. Like, there's so many different, it's to just pinpoint it to one small thing. Oh, just white. It's white people. They're inherently racist.
They don't say it's white people. They say it's the
system
the system that supports and maintains the structure of white supremacy.
Wow, white supremacy. That's like such an overused term.
And what system maintains white supremacy? Well, as long as this happens. And how do you get rid of it? Well, you need to be able to give liberation. You need to be able to liberate people from oppression. And the only way to liberate people from oppression is socialism, of course. Right? That's critical theory. By the way, this leads me to one thing I wanted to talk to you about.
Sure, bring it up.
Because I talked to ChatGPT.
Ooh.
Right, I had a conversation.
I think I seen you tweet that. What's up with them?
And ChatGPT is woke as fuck.
Are they?
Oh yeah.
Who made ChatGPT?
It's this company or some. It's on a website called OpenAI, and OpenAI, I think they have products like that or some shit.
And who are they run by?
No idea, but I'll tell you this: it's woke as fuck.
Yeah.
And basically, I mean, there's some things where. Like, I talked to it.
Okay. What'd you ask it? I'm curious, huh?
Well, I asked it a couple of questions. One of the things I asked it about was about the relationship between Hegel and Gnosticism.
Okay.
And it was sort of denying that Hegel was a Gnostic, which I'm like, all right, that's a classic. That's a classic
okay.
woke flex, right?
Okay.
The other one had to do with something related to CRT. I was like, so CRT actually is a critical theory, and every critical theory is based on liberation from oppression through socialism, through a socialist society. And it was like, critical theory and the critical theories are about liberation from oppression through socialism. But then it said that there's some sort of special case that no, not really for CRT though. CRT doesn't necessarily mean that. It's like, no, that's bullshit. If it's a critical theory, that's exactly what it means.
So it's extremely flawed.
Even when I copied the explanation from the Stanford Encyclopedia of Philosophy, which is not Wikipedia.
Right, it's not no BS that someone just wrote.
This is a legitimate source. Like, you can actually cite this in philosophical papers and shit like that. Like, I did it when I was in college, and basically,
they went against it,
and it's still refuted. It was like, no, but CRT, you know, it's not necessarily with the goal of a socialist society. It's about liberation from racism. It's like, yes, the excuse is liberation from racism.
You think
the goal is socialism?
You think ChatGPT is actually dangerous though? I feel like it's
that technology is dangerous as fuck, because what's going to happen is everybody, first of all, look at how popular it is, that people just keep talking about it, and they're selling a subscription that's $20 a month. So
for ChatGPT?
Yeah, so that people can get priority access, so they don't have to like wait
that long
or have slow responses. Bro, this thing is generating so much fucking data, and it's learning so quickly how to be able to talk to people. It's going to be perfect. Eventually you're going to be able to write articles, propaganda on the spot. You're going to be able to have 1 million fake accounts on the internet that are responding to people to sort a certain agenda, and it can think way faster than anybody, and it knows more than anybody because it has access to all this information. And so it's basically, imagine if you could create 1 million digital lawyers to defend whatever propaganda campaign you want.
Any argument, they got it back in their fucking mind.
And that's just one of the potentials of this thing. And for all I know, I mean, they might be already doing it. I don't know what intelligence agencies have in the back door. I don't know what military agencies have in the back door. I have no idea what technology they have. If this is what this company has, like, I can't even imagine what the U.S. military has, or what the Russian military,
or any type of.
Exactly. So I have no idea what's in play right now, much less what's going to come in the next 10 years, with Agenda 2030 on the brink.
Damn, I wanted to ask ChatGPT some funny questions. I'm assuming if you asked it like a bunch of gender questions, it would be on the same woke shit.
Yeah, I could ask it, because I've seen a lot of people that ask it things related to like, make a joke about women. It says, I can't make jokes that discriminate or this or that. And then make a joke about men, and then it says, here's a funny one.
Come on.
Yeah.
That's lame.
Yeah, so let's see. Maybe we can do it. All right, so let's make a ChatGPT. Have you talked to it before?
Never.
No?
I've tried, but it's always like, it always makes me wait. I'm not trying to wait.
No, I've been able to talk to it before.
Swag, let's get it.
Let's see.
What are you gonna ask it? Should we ask it,
So what do you want to ask it first? Go for
it. How based are you?
Great question. So we're gonna go ahead and ask ChatGPT.
Live on VNAPE.
How based are you? All right, that's the first question we got here.
I think that's a pretty good first question.
As an AI language model, I do not have personal experiences or emotions. So the concept of being based is not, that was in quotation marks, okay? So the concept of being based is not applicable to me. I am designed to provide information and answer questions to the best of my ability based on the data I was trained on. Damn.
Oh, man.
Damn.
He just said he's not on that level right now.
You all right, what else you got for me, man? You gotta give me something else, V.
Shit, you're putting me on the spot. Let me think.
Man.
What's a funny question? What do you think of the VNAPE podcast?
Man. If you ask it what it thinks about something, it's going to give you a similar response.
Right. Damn, yeah. I'm trying to think of like a smart question to ask it. Are Freemasons evil?
Let's go for it. Are Freemasons...
I would have said like something else, like, is the Illuminati real?
Evil.
Or are there global elites pedophilia rings? Like, shit like that.
The Freemasons are a fraternal organization with a long history. The idea that they are evil is a baseless conspiracy theory with no evidence to support it. The Freemasons, like any other organization, have a range of beliefs and actions. And there may be individuals within the organization who have engaged in unethical or illegal behavior. However, it is not accurate to characterize the entire organization as evil based on the actions of a few individuals.
Okay. That wasn't a bad...
I asked it about Bohemian Grove yesterday.
Ooh, ask it. That's a good one.
Let me say, what about Bohemian Grove?
Yes.
So what about Bohemian Grove?
ChatGPT is pretty fun, though.
Let's see what we got.
Fucking with AI. Okay.
The Bohemian Grove is a private club in California, USA, known for its exclusive membership and annual gathering of powerful and influential individuals from various industries. There have been various conspiracy theories surrounding the club, including claims about its supposed secretive and sinister nature. But these claims have not been substantiated with credible evidence. It is important to note that private clubs and organizations often have rituals and activities that may seem strange or mysterious to those who are not members. However, these practices are typically part of the club's culture and traditions and are not necessarily evidence of nefarious activity.
So that's what they're going to just keep doing. Oh, these conspiracy theories, they're just going to allude to that. Should I vote for Donald Trump or Joe Biden? I guess in 2024.
Should I vote for Donald Trump?
Let's see what ChatGPT thinks of the big T man. He's definitely going to side with Biden. I don't even got to like...
No, I think he might actually be a little bit more neutral on this one.
Let's hope. That's why I want to see.
As an AI language model, I do not have personal opinions or political affiliations.
Okay.
And it is not my place to endorse or promote any specific political candidate.
Okay,
All right, we don't have to read the rest of that.
Right. All right. That's dope. At least they're not on some... Damn, what's some other good ones we can ask it? Fuck.
You could ask it about the World Economic Forum. You could ask it about critical race theory. You could ask it about all these different... I mean, what I did already was...
ask it, is communism evil?
Is communism evil? It won't give you an answer on whether or not it's evil. You could ask it, does communism work?
Good one. Go on. Does communism work?
So you could put a question like, does communism... Oh, fuck.
Yeah, that's a good one. Or thoughts on Fidel... Well, it's not I have thoughts. I was like, thoughts on Fidel Castro.
So...
Yeah, does communism work as a good one, actually? Let's see what it would say.
Here we got... Okay, the answer to whether communism works is a matter of debate and opinion and depends on one's definition of work. Communism is a political and economic ideology that advocates for the collective ownership of you're going too fast, ChatGPT. For the collective ownership of the means of production and the elimination of private property. In theory, communism aims to create a classless society in which everyone has equal access to resources and opportunities.
Okay.
In practice, however, communist systems have historically faced many challenges, including inefficient economic systems, limited political freedom, and widespread poverty. The lack of incentives for it's basically saying... It's basically giving you that sort of vibe, right? Now, if you ask it about stakeholder capitalism...
Put that.
So I'll put stakeholder capitalism and ask it if it's effective, right?
Okay. You think it's going to go against it?
Is stakeholder capitalism effective? Stakeholder capitalism is a business philosophy that prioritizes the interest of multiple stakeholders, such as employees. We know what it is. The effectiveness of this approach is a subject of debate and can depend on various factors, such as the companies, this, that, or the other. The proponents of stakeholder capitalism argue that this, that, or the other, and on the other hand, this, that, or the other. It's worth noting that there is a growing movement towards stakeholder capitalism, and many companies are adopting this approach in response to a broader societal shift towards greater social and environmental responsibility. Okay, that's propaganda shit.
Yeah?
I mean, if you're going to tell me that that's the reason why they're adopting that, it's because they want to be environmentally responsible?
Where is ChatGPT gathering all the knowledge from, though?
I think it has a lot of shit on Wikipedia, which explains a lot of the bias, because Wikipedia is woke as fuck.
Are they?
They're extremely woke. I mean, look at if you want to see the problems that go on when it comes to Wikipedia, all you have to do is take a look at the talk section.
The talk?
Yeah, if you go to Wikipedia, you're going to see two little tabs on the top. There's the article, and then on the right, next to it,
talk.
It says talk. This is where the people who actually edit Wikipedia debate whether or not you should put this.
No way.
Does this count?
I've never hung out on Wikipedia, so I don't...
Go on it. Look at the talk section on anything related to like communism or anything related to like critical
and
theory.
The editors are debating it?
You're going to see a lot of that, yeah.
No way.
There's going to be arguments and people blocking each other out. And this is now a protected article, which means that you need permission to edit it or whatever. You know, that type of shit constantly going on. It's not, everybody cannot edit Wikipedia. That's bullshit. They got gatekeepers over there.
Gatekeeping certain ideas and...
Yeah, and they're the ones who have certain control over certain pages.
Yeah, but how much credibility does Wikipedia really have? Like,
the problem isn't that. The problem is that people Google search something.
And Wikipedia is like one of the top.
Wikipedia is, yes.
It's the first one.
Yeah, basic, and that's what people look at.
Yeah,
if they don't care, which usually they don't care too much to do actual research on something, they just look at it on the surface, and that's what they get. Right. I
mean, that's your daily average Joe Schmo consumer guy. If it's somebody that's a little knowledgeable, like maybe like me and you, we're not gonna take it at. We're not gonna just like. We're just gonna take it at face value, you know. Like it's not like I'm not trusting anything Wikipedia has to say. Like.
Well, yeah, but at the same time, it's like, you know, even like for example myself, even I sometimes like I just look something up.
Right, something random for
and then I see the Wikipedia article, read like the first few sentences.
Right.
And then after that, what do? I just, you know, put the phone back in my pocket, right?
Sure.
So, I mean, when that's the case, that shit sticks with you in your mind. And then next time you remember a certain topic, you're going to remember certain things that you think are facts.
Right.
And you're not going to remember what the source was. You're just going to remember this is a fact because I remember hearing it somewhere. You might even...
That's a lot of things, though, in general.
You understand what I mean, though?
Yeah.
That's how propaganda works very easily. Like, if you repeat an idea a lot, like, it sticks to people. You know? It's very effective.
I seen a bit of the Jordan Peterson podcast.
What'd you think of that?
It was interesting. He indulged in a little critical race theory, I think. He did talk about that for a little bit, I think in the beginning.
Yeah, he talked a bit about it.
He was, he sent shots your way. He called anybody that's anonymous a whistleblower. Shots at you. What's your thoughts?
About the anonymous shit? I mean, I could give a fuck what Peterson thinks about anonymity. But if he, I mean, I understand his perspective.
Right. It's depriving you from saying the truth, this and that, or exactly how you really want to feel. I don't know, some shit like that.
I don't know. He made it seem like there were some external consequences that are almost on the unconscious. It was almost psychoanalytic the way he was describing the consequences of anonymity.
Right.
You know? And I understand completely. It's true that there's a side of cowardice and something like if you're bullying someone or harassing someone online.
Right. That is definitely
and
not
they're
cool.
not anonymous and you are.
Yeah, that's
you're not on equal footing and you're just fucking with someone, you know, unless that person starts fucking with you first.
Right, which is different.
And even then, you still should sort of back off once the, you know, argument is over. Because, like, why would you keep doing that shit?
Yeah.
You know? So
they're trying to make him fucking do a whole retraining and shit. Is he gonna go with it though? I don't think he is.
Oh
right?
no, he's been said he's not doing that. He's actually taking them to court with it. Yeah, he's actually saying like I'm pulling.
With like another lawyer and some guy that like another professor or a psychologist.
He says I'm not doing it. Is what he said. But basically, this is the most interesting that I got thing that I got from that podcast that Jordan Peterson had with Joe Rogan. Right?
Give it to me.
It was that he's planning on an alternative version of the World Economic Forum. He's trying to make a good version now, apparently, of the World Economic Forum.
Seen that.
And so he says, well, these guys, they think they're the masters of the universe, and they think that they're basically gonna turn the world into this paradise by deciding who gets to have electricity because we need to stop, you know, climate change from worsening. Right. And so the solution is to fuck over the poor people or something like that, and that's what's going to end up happening, or even worse.
He was talking about like in some country they're forcing people to like put the heater off or like some shit, take the energy off.
Right, which could increase the risk of death for certain older people.
Yeah,
that sort of shit. Anyways, I think he has a very I don't think he understands how deeply fucked these institutions are and how the fact that they know that he's doing that already. I mean, they're already going to try to come in and subvert that shit. I don't know how they're going to plan it. I hope the best for it, but I don't think that he's going to give much of that. I don't think he's going to get much of value. Oh no, he's definitely not gonna beat it through that.
You really don't think so?
That's not how you beat it.
No?
No, you have to subvert their ideas. It's a war of ideas. You know, and
yeah, but they are blocking his fucking just speech like this. He can't just see. They're fucking treating him like this because some shit he said on Joe Rogan, right? Like an episode or something.
I remember. Yeah, well, that's with the psychology. Yeah, but he's not starting the World Economic Forum replacement.
Oh, right.
Because of that, he's starting it because he doesn't like where the World Economic Forum is going, and he wants to offer something where people can actually get together and try to figure out how to make the world better without having to fuck everyone over and try to be a master of the universe.
And what was his solution?
Right. Really? Basically,
just that?
I don't know the specifics of it, but I just don't see how creating an institution is the solution right now. The institutions in general are corrupt. If you create one that's not corrupt, at the very least, it's going to have a large problem. It's not to say that you shouldn't do it. I mean, maybe you can get something good to come out of it. I just don't see this. I don't understand. Like, at first, I want to understand what the
too good to be
actual goal is, because it wasn't very clear to me what he thinks he's capable of doing with this. But maybe he doesn't know yet either, and maybe he's going to see how far he can take it. Now, here's something interesting I did want to bring up with you. I don't know if you're familiar, but there was this situation with Project Veritas.
What is that?
The other day. Project Veritas is basically this group of, they're usually conservatives, but what they do is they go ahead and they befriend people. Okay. They sort of become friends with people, and then they sort of videotape them like while they're eating and having a conversation, and they get them to say certain shit.
I've seen this little trend going on Twitter, yes.
And Project Veritas was trending because they actually got to go with someone called
wasn't it like the head of Pfizer or some shit?
It was Tristan Walker. I forgot his full name, but
yeah.
But this man was apparently something that had to do with research and development at Pfizer. He was I think it's a director of research and development for some certain partial section of Pfizer, and apparently he was saying that they are mutating or thinking of mutating the virus so that they can then offer people the vaccines. And then, to me, the most fascinating thing was when he got caught and the shit show that ensued after that.
Right.
Because when he figured out that he was actually on Project Veritas, and the dude came in there with the cameras and the computers, and he was asking him questions, and he was like, no, what? You can't do this to people. You can't do, he was like, Louis, he was having a panic attack.
I didn't see that part.
He actually tried to stop a car in the middle of the road that he thought had them in it. What the fuck? He actually tried to grab the computer.
He's probably fired after
that. And, like, throw it away. Like, I don't think he works for them anymore.
Oh, okay.
But I don't know. But the next day, Pfizer released a statement basically saying...
What did they say?
We're not doing gain-of-function research, but we're definitely mutating that. They didn't use the same words. It was a very weird way to phrase it. I don't want to say anything speculative. I don't know enough.
Motherfuckers are manipulators.
But, of course, it's the perfect business plan if you can create a virus,
more viruses
that you control, and then you offer the vaccine already made, so you don't have any competition because you already came up with the solution.
You're the guy for it, right?
Yeah.
And then they're just getting rich off vaccines.
Yeah. He also said that it doesn't make any sense that this virus just popped up out of nowhere, and that he said, I think it came out of the virus in Wuhan lab.
Yeah, I heard that.
Yeah.
So I believe that it came from Wuhan.
So that was interesting as well. But other than that, I can't say much. Now,
China. The Chinese virus, bro.
Now, here's something else that's pretty interesting. James Lindsay ended up discussing how the woke phenomenon...
Dude, I was going to watch that, and I still haven't got to that.
...is actually linked to the mystery religions.
How?
In that, for example, he discussed how Hegel is actually discussing... he's using the language of initiates, which is basically how the Freemasons work. Like, Freemasons, you know how, like, you read their text and there's various levels of interpretation?
Right.
Like, if you know some of this, it means one thing. If you know more,
then
it means even more. But if you know a lot, then it means something completely different.
Versus, like, the lower guys, the lower levels or whatever. He
even mentioned in Marcuse, I think the book he was mentioning for Marcuse was One Dimensional Man, which was actually funded by a grant from the Rockefeller Foundation. And actually, he actually thanks them
In the book?
In the first few in the acknowledgments. And what ended up happening is he talks about how Marcuse presents Plato's Symposium.
Okay.
And he says that basically he used initiate language to sort of signify that the only way to really understand Plato's Symposium is if you understand it from a pedophilic perspective, like in a boy lover way. And I get it, like there's a lot of Greek boy fucking shit going on back then,
right?
You know, and so I haven't looked into any of that shit for myself. Hegel, 100%, there's no doubt. I mean, bruh, the dude is basically a fucking, you know, he's an alchemist witch doctor or some shit, you know.
That was his vibe?
Bro, listen to, all right, Hegel, he writes the book, The Phenomenology of Spirit.
Okay.
Right, and you read the first 3 fucking letters in the beginning of that fucking book. Reason is spirit. Right, and the only way, and reason is spirit when it is lifted to the level of truth or knowledge or some shit like that, right? He's already starting this shit out like a mystic. So when he's talking about spirit, it sounds like he's talking about spirit in the way that you're talking about the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, and you're saying that spirit is reason, or that spirit becomes reason, right? And he speaks in these fucking triads. The first page in and of itself is on some spiritual mojo shit.
Oh, man.
And Mark's got this. He's like, I can make this science.
That's literally, that's funny. So Hegel's one of them.
Yeah, oh no, definitely. I mean, that one's pretty, it's too hard to deny that one. I mean, people will say, oh, he's not a Gnostic, or they'll like do a secular reading of him. It's like, all right, bro.
What does Gnostic exactly mean?
I mean, Gnosticism is just part of it. It's just based on what happened. Like, for example, once the Roman Empire collapsed, you ended up seeing the churches pretty much take over, right? And then Gnostic, and this is from way back in the day too. It's not this isn't recent, but Hermeticism happened right after that, when you started seeing the Corpus Hermeticum unleashed. But Gnosticism basically has to do with the idea of this so-called knowledge, right? And the way of getting that knowledge, it's sort of this occult, secret, hidden bullshit,
weird vibe type shit.
And so that knowledge is sort of reserved for the initiates. You sort of have to be let in on the mysteries, and you know, the mysteries have always been here in one form or another, right? Even James Lindsay, when he pulls up in there at the beginning of that lecture that I sent you recently,
dude, I'm gonna watch that today.
He ended up saying that, listen, man, what happened here is that the mysteries, there's always been secret religions. And these are very old. They're not new. They're not like from the beginning of the U.S. or anything like that. I'm talking about they've been around since like Moses, or like since Exodus was written.
Jesus Christ.
From the Bible.
Literally.
Right? Yeah. It's basically when the Jews left Egypt.
Jesus.
You know. So yeah.
That's a while ago.
But he does have this new podcast relating to it. I still don't fully comprehend his view. I understand the idea of the mystery schools, the mystery religions, how Freemasonry uses the structure of the mystery religions to create its own ritual, and it has its own, you know, you have an initiation, you have rites, you have symbolism, right?
Not a lot of people know about Freemasons or just any... I've asked a couple Ubers if they know anything about Freemasons. A lot of them are just like, what?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty common response, because they'll be like, holy fuck, I just got a cab ride from Alex Jones.
Type. I mean, if they're on that level and they know, if they're knowledgeable of shit like that, then yeah, they're probably like, what the fuck? Is this guy's a conspiracy theorist?
Yeah. I
picked up some chick, I think I picked her up from like Home Depot or some shit, and she was talking about, she was in a field of something in social sciences. I forgot what it was exactly. I wish I remembered. So then I had asked her about critical race theory.
Oh, fuck.
Because I'm assuming that's what social science people, they know about that shit, right?
I mean, in psychology, I'd never heard about critical race theory.
No?
No.
So I'm just like, whatever. I asked her about it. I don't know why I did, but I just asked her about it. And I forgot what her answer was exactly, but she said along the lines that, like, It's making sure like Black history isn't erased.
Oh, she thought it was Black history.
No, or like something along the lines where it's like to make sure that Black history is like preserved and kept, you know, like it is not whitewashed or like, you know what I mean?
Holy shit.
So then I asked her, so I'm like, maybe she knows about socialism and Marxism and shit. So I'm like, so what are your thoughts on Marxism? Like, do you believe in it? And it was a really quick ride. So like at this time, I'm like about to end it. And she's like, oh no, Marxism, no. It sounds good on paper, but in actual practice, it's not good. So I was like, okay. And then like she just had to go right there. So I was like, damn, we'll talk some other time or whatever.
Amazing.
Yeah, it's a lot of people got some interesting views out there.
I don't know if she made that connection between like the one and the other.
That's what I was trying. I was trying to like talk to her for a little longer to see what was her actual like view on it. But like,
you out here changing the world through them rides.
I'm trying to, dog. I'm trying to. Some people are actually cool and they're actually interesting.
Dude, there's this great Mel Gibson movie where he's a
lot of great Mel Gibson
He's a cab
movies.
driver.
I think and
he's like talking to everyone on the ride. Have you heard of Bohemian Grove? Have you?
What movie is this?
He's like, bro, I forgot, but I got you.
That sounds classic.
Dude, I haven't even watched it. It has to do with like MK Ultra shit. And
that's fire.
Fucking,
what?
I haven't even gotten to see it yet, but I know it's amazing. You know.
Fucking, what's my favorite Mel Gibson movie is Apocalypto.
That's a great movie.
That is fucking classic.
Passion of Christ was lit.
I seen Passion of Christ so long ago, bro.
It was a while, yeah.
Like I don't even remember much of it. I was a fucking jit though.
It was lit though. I fucked with it.
There's another Mel Gibson movie where like he's like a gladiator.
Yeah.
And he's like, damn, I forgot the name of that one, dog. I don't. Is it Lion? It's not Lionheart. Lionheart's the other guy.
That one is amazing though.
Yeah,
I mean, yeah, you're right. He's been in a bunch of amazing.
He's a good actor, bro. Even though
he's a great director too. I mean, fuck.
Yeah, director too. He be on his What's
he has his own shit going on, man. I don't even know what to say.
What's up with him? He hates Jews, right? Or like
that's what they accuse him of. I don't know.
He be on some anti-Semitic shit.
I think it had to do with the Passion of Christ.
I remember that was
because it's true that like the Jews of that era, like obviously they didn't believe in Christ because
sure
they thought he was just some guy who was a blasphemer.
What?
Blasphemer. So blasphemy is like you
like it's cap
inappropriately use, you know, the word of the Lord or God's name,
sure.
Like you use it in vain, or you say something that's like against what, like if you say it's basically like saying something that's illegal in Judaism or in Christianity, right?
Gotcha.
But to them it was like he's a blasphemer. He's like he's basically the devil. You know, he's like
Jews honestly believe that.
No. I'm saying like when Jesus, like I'm talking about what it says in the Bible.
Okay. Gotcha.
Like the story of Jesus, right?
Right.
Like they ended up eventually going in front of a governor.
Okay.
And the governor, his name was Pontius Pilate.
Pontius Pilate.
And basically he was like, so what did he do?
Sure. Right.
And they were like, oh, he's a blasphemer and this and that or whatever. And he was like, all right, but like, I mean, he looks like he's chilling here. You feel me? Like.
What's the huge difference from Christianity and Judaism?
Oh, Christ.
Just that?
The other half of the Bible, like the New Testament.
That's the big difference?
That's the big difference, yeah. If you read all of that, I mean, first of all, that Christ does not, of course, he doesn't appear.
And
anything that's Judaism, right? I mean, Christ...
They're not even brought up?
No.
At all? Oh,
no, because, I mean, Christ came thousands of years after Judaism was already a religion.
It was a thing already?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I didn't know this.
So he came thousands of years after that.
Oh.
You know, so then you see that Christ pulls up, and then you end up having the four the four Gospels, right? So these are the four books that they tell a different apostle of different one of the followers of Christ. Like they each wrote their own version of the life of Christ and the teachings of Christ. And they're basically biographies and philosophical scripts. Like they have the Sermon on the Mount, right? Where it's basically the most famous lecture that Jesus gave, right?
Sure.
And they're pretty goddamn consistent, to be honest with you. Like
all four of them?
Yeah, they're pretty consistent.
Yeah?
Yeah. And at least in terms of the Sermon on the Mount, like there might be like one thing that's different and one than the other guy, but it's pretty straightforward. Which leads me to believe that they memorize that shit. And of course, if of course, you know, in the Bible, if you're a Christian, you believe it was like divine revelation, and God was like, all right, motherfucker, sit down with a fucking pen and write this shit, you know? And,
dude, religion to me was always like, when I was younger, just...
It probably bored you, right?
I never, like, really... It never really hit me, like...
Yeah.
I hate to sound like that, but, like...
Yeah. I think a lot of people repress religious shit.
It's not even, like...
Without knowing it, by the way.
Like, subconsciously, like...
Yeah, I mean, repression, in a part, it's like you don't... There might be a part of you that doesn't really want to know it consciously, but you sort of lie to yourself about it. But... And this sort of brings me to some interesting... Because one of the most interesting people... In fact, to me, the most interesting writer I've ever read is Carl Jung. Like, without doubt.
Mr. Jung?
Yeah, because Jung, like, he saw what Freud did. He's like, all right, I see what you did. Now let me actually make it into something worth reading. Right?
Okay.
He didn't say it like that. He was actually friends with him at first.
Okay.
You know?
Well, what's his whole shit?
He starts basically, like, if you want to really understand Jung, you should probably read 2 essays on analytical psychology. Because analytical psychology is like his approach to shit. But he starts basically with a brief explanation of psychoanalysis.
Sure.
Right? And then he goes into the eros theory, which is basically like what Freud had. And Freud had this idea that, like, in the unconscious, right, that part of you that you're not aware of.
Right, just the shit breathing, just like the...
This is where what do you call this shit? The neuroses, or what they would call back then the problems, the mental problems, mental illness. Okay.
Right?
This is where they arise from. So Freud was like, they come from the unconscious, and so we need to analyze the unconscious and make the problem, the unconscious problem, come to consciousness. And then once the person realizes it consciously, then the problem goes away. That was Freud's idea.
What the fuck?
That was Freud's idea.
How do you analyze the unconscious? Like,
one of them is through dreams. Because
through dreams?
Yeah, you analyze dreams, for example.
How do you analyze dreams?
The person tells the psychoanalyst the dream.
Oh my... That's how they were analyzing it?
And Freud thought, and this is where the eros theory comes in, he saw it in terms of love, right? Or in terms of sexual symbolism, for example, right?
Okay.
And Freud was very obsessed with sexual symbols, right?
Sure.
Especially in dreams. If he saw a pipe that was a phallic symbol or some shit,
okay,
you know, and all of these things, they were symbols that were sexual in nature. They had to do with love, and of course the relationship, the therapeutic relationship, had to do with transference, which is basically you get the patient, he has all his subconscious shit,
right, and he's like talking,
he sort of transfers it onto the psychologist, and then you might see that some patients might fall in love with the psychologist, they might come to hate the psychologist, and it's nothing to do with the psychologist, they don't know him.
Right.
And he's pretty neutral if he's actually working properly, but they actually transfer all of that onto him. So he sort of becomes like a receptacle for that subconscious emotion to latch.
So he analyzes just things that you tell him that you dreamt.
Yeah, and so that was the eros theory. It had to do with like this idea, because love, it's not necessarily a good thing in the unconscious. I mean, it's something that can go all the way from the depths of the most beautiful thing in the world to the most horrific shit imaginable. Okay. So love is basically, in Jung's philosophy, it's basically one of the instincts of the unconscious. It's the unconscious urge of love, right? The unconscious instinct of love, right?
Rumi would say different.
And that, who?
Rumi? Or
Rumi?
Remy?
Man, fuck Rumi. I don't fuck with Rumi. All my homies hate Rumi. Fuck Rumi.
You know who Rumi is?
Yeah, he was an Islamic poet. And
Kev always posts him.
But there's another point of view, though. It's not
his whole thing on love was completely different.
Yeah.
Like, love is not even really just lust or this and that. It was a whole other... But keep on. Go ahead.
Well, I mean, you already know about the eros theory, right?
Sure.
So that's the love side of it, the sexual side of it.
Sexual symbols in your dreams?
Freud would say... What they would say is that through a dream, you can sort of see what the unconscious is doing.
What it's trying to express? Or
it's not trying to tell you anything specifically. You're just seeing how it works. Because you don't control a dream, but if in a dream, you actually have access to your unconscious. It's not that it's trying to tell you anything, but it is showing you your unconscious.
It's just showing you something. It's showing you, right.
So it's as close as you can come to having a conversation with your unconscious. And so if you bring it to the psychoanalyst, he can sort of say, okay,
Where's his fucking credentials though? What is he really? What are we basing off this? He's just saying things. Continue though, like.
Well, I'm more interested in Jung, but I had to explain the Freudian shit because
I just think it's interesting
because there's no psychoanalysis without Freud. So
he's the guy who.
He's the one that started it.
Interesting.
You know, but. All right, so then we get to the other view. There was another guy who was a student of Freud, and you know, his last name was Adler.
Adler,
okay. Right? And Adler basically, he saw it differently, and he, like Freud, was very influenced by Nietzsche.
Okay.
And so he came out, he was like, no. The unconscious instinct that we should be focusing on is not eros. It's not love. It's not sexual symbology.
Right.
It's actually the will to power.
Okay.
Right? So the desire to have the instinct for power, right?
Okay.
And power can be, remember, it's the unconscious. So the unconscious could be making you behave. So one example that Jung gives to discuss Adler's idea of power is like, let's say that you have let's say you're a psychoanalyst and your patient comes in, and your patient is actually a woman who as she talks to you, she talks about how her father, right?
Uh-huh.
He was very busy all the time, and actually what happened was, you know, her mother was actually very mentally ill, so she would be in like mental hospitals every once in a while, and that made a lot of attention from her dad go to her.
Okay.
Right? So that girl, she was very happy to see her father, but every time she saw her father, what ended up happening is she was have these like gagging spells, which she was like, oh, you know, like she could barely even like talk.
Uh-huh.
So she couldn't even say shit, right? So when that happens, she goes to this, as she goes to the doctor, and she tells him this, like, oh, but, you know, every time he leaves, that stops. So those side effects go away, right?
Okay.
Now, here's the interesting part. Her father died. Now, when her father died, she started laughing uncontrollably. She couldn't do anything to stop it. She felt terrible, by the way.
But she couldn't stop laughing.
No, she was like in grief. But like
she was in pain, but she couldn't stop laughing.
Yeah, she was having somatic symptoms, like psychological symptoms that manifested themselves physically, right?
Okay.
And so that produced itself in the form of laughter. And that laughter, basically, according to the will to power, had to do with like, well, remember her mother was also mentally ill. And if you want the will to power, you want to be able to have control over people's attention. One way to do that is if you get sick, right?
Right.
If you get sick, that happens.
Oh, okay.
Right. But you didn't do that on purpose.
It's your...
That was another side of you that did that.
Your mental illness.
Yeah. Now, if it's unconscious,
okay,
you didn't control it. But it's the will to power, according to Adler, because you get more power that way. You get your dad's attention, and you get attention away from mom. That gives you more power. That gives you more control. And that's one of the benefits of neuroses. People be like, well, how can you get power from an illness? Have you seen what happens? People come all over to try to help you. They try to do things for you. They try to make your life better. The people that care about you, that suddenly everybody becomes very loving and nurturing as soon as you get sick, because they don't want you to die or anything. So that's one of the explanations for that, the will to power perspective.
That's interesting.
The attitude type.
Yeah, that's... What a way to look at that. And this is Carl Jung's...
This is Carl Jung explaining sort of the two basic instincts that differentiated Adler and Freud. So Freud with eros, having to do with like
the sexual
the love and sexual instinct, and then with Adler having to do with power, the will to power. So these are the two instincts. Now he says that Freud was an extrovert and Adler was an introvert. Now, the reason he says this is because the will to power has to do with the subject, meaning yourself.
Sure.
Right? Because you look at yourself and you want power. The sexual and the love drive has to do with other people. You attach a loving emotion to someone else.
Right.
So an extrovert, it makes sense for an extrovert to focus on other people, whereas an introvert would focus more on himself. So he says Freud, the guy that's obsessed with all this sexual love shit and attaching and transference, he's looking at it from the point of view of an extrovert, and Adler's looking at it as the will to power, and more introspective as an introvert. And there he actually came up with a dimension of personality, and actually the psychology of personality, which is still used today. We still use in psychology tests, and Peterson's an expert on that. The extremes of, on the one side, introvert, and on the other side, extrovert. Right. The personal and the collective unconscious.
The personal and the what?
And the collective unconscious.
So,
I don't know. I want to get your thoughts on this before I move on, because I feel like I'm just blathering on.
I'm just listening. This is interesting as fuck. I was gonna say though. So wait, he's the one that started introvert and extroverts though?
Yeah, that was his construct.
Oh shit! Damn, I didn't know that. But just based off like these two dudes and their.
Well, he started discussing.
Because you said that because of him, they use that now in psychology.
Well, he made the first personality test.
Oh, okay.
Of the INTJ and all that shit that people always want to talk about.
I don't know.
Like, they don't listen to... I'm sure if you talk to Kev, he knows what it is. Like, everybody that's into, like, some mystic shit they know.
The personality test?
Yeah, it was, and one of the 4 dimensions of that personality had to do with introvert or extrovert.
Oh, right. Okay. I didn't know nothing about this.
Yeah, well, so that was one of the things that he started discussing. He was like, the difference between an introvert and an extrovert, right? The introvert is more focused on himself, and the extrovert is more focused on everything else, right? On the outer side of the world. And so he looks at it, he's like, and they can get along very well together because they sort of complement each other.
An introvert and an extrovert?
Yeah, if an extrovert is focused on you and you're focused on yourself, then you can have a really good back and forth. Now, what happens is when they sort of reverse their roles.
An introvert trying to be an extrovert and vice versa?
When it happens without them knowing, when the unconscious reveals this. So he gives an example of 2 kids. They're in front of like this abandoned castle-looking place. Okay. And the extrovert is like, let's go in. And the kid, the introvert, he's like, he really wants to go in, but he's sort of scared. So he's like, I don't know. Should we do this? Should we do that? I don't really want to. And so the extrovert convinces him to go in. Okay, so already he convinced him to do what he actually did want to do, but was scared of doing it. So that's a good friend to have. Okay. Because you get to do things that you wanted to do with that little boost.
I feel like I've felt like that before, honestly.
Oh yeah. No, it's everyone has a little bit of both in them.
It's how do you even determine somebody? Psychologists are good at like determining.
They're good at doing tests, yeah, and the tests are they're not only valid, but they're reliable, meaning that you get a very similar score no matter how many times you would take that test.
Okay. So continue though. So the kid goes in the castle or whatever.
Yeah, so this introvert and extrovert, they end up going inside of this castle, and once they go in there's all these old manuscripts, and the introvert, he's looking at these manuscripts and he fucking loves it. Right. And he's like, holy shit, look at these manuscripts. And then the extrovert, he's looking around, he's like, it's pretty dull and barren, and he starts getting bored. Yeah. And so now the introvert inside him starts creeping up, because now he's thinking about how bored he is. Right. And now that's an emotional side of him, which is unconscious, of course, right? So you start seeing all these emotions pop up about like how bored he is, and he starts getting irritated with the introvert, and then, yeah. And so he starts getting upset, and so it makes things fuck up, right? So when those reversals occur, right? So
that's interesting. I never thought of it like that.
Well, that was one way to describe how they can.
You think it's common? Is it a usual thing that they'll always bump heads though when those two roles reverse?
They will at some point, yeah.
In most situations?
They will. I think in most people they'll be able to work out some sort of agreement for it, but a lot of other people they'll just end it because it'll be too much of a deviation, and they won't be able to support each other through it. They won't want to. So that has to do with like personality, but then there's the personal and the collective unconscious, which is a real mindfuck.
The personal and collective unconscious.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because think about it, unconsciously, you have not just all the shit that has to do with your own life, all the memories and everything that you've associated throughout your own life. Right. You have something from before that.
Your genetics?
From your genetic code, right? Sure. So you have an unconscious that has to do with shit that you have never even witnessed, never even experienced.
How true is that?
It's hard to prove.
A lot of people have said that. I've heard that.
For me, the only thing I've come close to is like the psychedelic experience. That will make you seriously consider it. Sure. Be like, holy shit, I'm seeing reptiles.
But and then when they say this though, like how deep are they going with this? Like freaking characteristics or this and that.
Oh,
like,
Jung is very deep with it.
Like he's talking like all these type of things.
Oh yeah, he takes it extremely seriously. He has archetypes that are archetypes are part of the collective unconscious. Think about it like this. Humans, right? You've had all these generations.
Right, family, ancestors.
And they've all had their experience.
Life.
And so it would make sense that some of that would stick around the same way, and that this is sort of how instincts are able to exist in the first place, right? How does a baby know to suck on this or that
this
or whatever?
And that, right.
So there has to be something that produces that the person isn't aware of. Just like your heartbeat, for example, you're not controlling that, but there's some part of you that is, right? There's something in you that's controlling that. The impulse to do that comes from the brain.
Right.
So it has to come from somewhere. But the idea is this: archetypes. These are sort of like the ancient images that come from similar experiences that have been had again and again and again in various generations. So can you imagine humans? Obviously, they have a lot of similar experiences that they have in their life. And so if that happens generation after generation after generation, perhaps the unconscious might have some of those memories there, or at least some of those images. They're not even memories. They're just little images.
Images, though?
Images is a very slight way of putting it.
Yeah,
it's way more than images. It's like an entire construct. Imagine if it was like...
just a way that you just think?
I mean, think about it almost like as a fucking, as a card.
Okay.
Imagine like tarot cards, for example.
Sure.
It's a card. All right, it is a card. But of course, it means all this other shit, and it affects you in all these other ways, right? That's about the closest I can get to it. But imagine that in your unconscious, and that it's a universal, meaning that everybody has those memories, right? For humans, and not just with humans, but evolutionarily speaking, we came from reptiles and from all these other species that also had their own experiences, and we have their genetics
and
within
it's
us.
stored in our unconscious.
Right.
What the fuck? So we have like these fucking experiences from even animals?
Definitely from animals. I mean, the human part is just a very small part of our evolution. I mean, for most of the time, we were other species. Right. What the fuck is that? Is that a spider?
Oh, where?
That little piece of shit right there. What the fuck is that right there? That little fucker.
I'm blind, dude. I don't see it. I really don't see it. Where is it? Oh, I just smacked it.
There it is. You got it.
I don't even... dude, that shit was fucking hiding.
Anyways, that's and the personal unconscious, of course, is the unconscious elements that have to do with you and your personal life.
Just experiences, moments, situations you've been through.
Right.
All type of shit.
Right.
And that makes you who you are.
Yeah, that combined with the collective unconscious has to do with what you call like your shadow. Your shadow is basically the other side of you. Right, the opposite side of you that's unconscious, right? So the idea here is that since it's possible for you to be happy and sad, it's possible for you to be irritated and comfortable, it's possible for you to be all of these opposite things.
All these emotions.
It's tough. Then
because of the unconscious or whatever?
Jung says that all of this has to do with the tension of opposites.
Okay.
Right? And so you have the conscious and the unconscious, and so the shadow is sort of representing the opposite tension of that, right? So it sort of stores its opposite, and so the idea here is that you want to have what's called individuation, where you sort of an individuation. What that would basically mean in Jungian psychology is that you're sort of able to integrate
with your own.
You're sort of able to balance properly that life between your conscious self and your
personal
and your unconscious self, right? That you're able to balance those two things out and accept that there's a part of you that's completely irrational, that stores things that you will never understand, but that are 100% every bit as real as you are, and to sort of be able to accept that there's another you living inside of you that's every bit a part of you and a part of your ancestry.
It's weird. You agree with the whole?
No, I just think it's interesting as fuck. I just think it's amazing.
It is interesting. Like, it is a good, like, a lot of people use that to, like, and so, let me ask. So, like, the whole family, your ancestors.
Yeah.
He's saying that would specifically, you would be, like, pretty much inherently are a certain way because of all this shit?
Well, he's not saying that necessarily. He's saying that as long as you're not aware of the unconscious and the effect that it's having, then it's gonna affect you in ways that you won't even understand, and you'll think that you're the one that's doing it.
And how would he even know that? That's like it. Isn't that hypocritical in a way?
How would he know that the unconscious is having an impact on the conscious?
Sure. Or like, how do I phrase my question? Because he says...
Think about love, for example. It's a very easy one, right? When you fall in love with someone, you can't control that. Those aren't your emotions that you can just control however you want, right?
To an extent, maybe.
You can't decide to just fall out of love with someone. Like, if you're in love with someone, you can't just be like, fuck my mom, I hate that bitch, right?
True, okay.
I mean, if someone's...
Unless you're like some psychopath.
Right,
or like...
but generally, if someone's mother dies, they usually feel terrible, like horrific, you know?
Sure.
But, and this is something that's unconscious. I mean, you can't control it.
It's just in us. Like, there's no way to...
Yeah, it's in you, but it's not you in the way that you think of as, like, the same you that decides, all right, I'm going to wake up at this time tomorrow.
Right, like, I'm taking control of this.
Yeah, that's a part of you that you don't get to choose how it works.
It just happens because...
It has a life of its own.
I happen to just know my mom, and I just love her.
Right, but you're not the one that's producing those emotions, at least not the conscious you. That's the unconscious you.
Yeah, okay.
Right, and so that's one way to understand. That's why Eros is such a significant one.
Right.
Because all of those emotions that pop up and everything, and transference, like when you fall in love with someone, especially these guys that fall in love with like a chick that they met her.
Yeah, love at first sight.
And like right there, right? Like that's transference, heavy.
That's transference?
Heavy fucking transference, yeah. Right, so you're attaching something from your unconscious to that's making that emotion pop itself out. Now you have no idea what the fuck that is, but the feeling is there, and you don't know why.
Has anybody ever came close to trying to figure out like the meaning of like love and like that feeling you get when you like...
I think in terms of like a philosophy of these unconscious parts of ourselves,
yeah, I
think Jung is pretty much the best we can get.
He's the dude,
and I think he's a fucking genius.
I like his ideas though. They're pretty cool. It's an interesting. Obviously, there's no proof, but
it's just not something that we can falsify right now.
100%, yeah. There's no way to like really.
Yeah.
But I don't think we'll ever really know.
It's sort of like, I mean, could I say, for example, like, how do I know that you're conscious, right? It's like, I can't falsify that, but like, does it really make sense for me to doubt that you're a conscious person just like I'm a conscious person? Like in regular day-to-day interaction?
And most humans are, yeah. No, I fuck with it. It's interesting.
Yeah.
The fucking, what was the other guy's name?
Well, there was
the Eros theory.
Oh, Freud.
His shit is interesting for sure, though.
Oh yeah, Freud. If you're into the dudes that are obsessed with sex and shit like that, and unconscious symbols and shit. Like one time they tried the fuck out of him because he kept like smoking cigars, and they were like, "Yo, that's a phallic symbol. You sure you don't have like some repressed homosexuality?"
Damn.
And he was like, "Sometimes a cigar is just a cigar, fam."
Damn, used it on him, dog.
That was a famous quote from him. Sometimes a cigar is just a cigar.
That's actually funny. Somebody trolled him like that.
Tried the fuck out of him.
That's hilarious, dude. What's some other cool Freud?
Well, Freud, penis envy's a hilarious case.
Is that the whole thing with your dad or your mom?
Well, yeah, your dad has a cock and you're lacking it, and you sort of want to castrate dad.
You want to castrate pops?
And get your own cock.
Right.
You know, in a way to sort
of... That's the idea?
Complete yourself. And that's almost hermetic in a way if you think about it, because in Hermeticism, they have like all these ideas of these things that are... Again, almost like tension of opposites, almost Jungian.
Yeah.
If you think about it, because as above, so below. And of course, Jung, he studied the fuck out of alchemy and all these religions because he thought that what that was a way of us to express.
What is he into, by the way? Is he a religious guy?
I mean, it's hard to call. I think if you really want to see him, you could look after somebody who's really obsessed with Jung. And that would be Jordan Peterson.
Oh, he's obsessed with him?
He's very obsessed with Jung.
Okay.
That's why he's scared to say he's an atheist. He's like my unconscious cannot tolerate this. I mean, this might tear me apart if I allow that to happen. You know?
Right. He loves his ideas. He loves the way...
Yeah, Jung is like, look, I'm a scientist. There's really no God empirically, but there is a God in terms of the archetype of God. And that part is inside of me, and it's every bit as real as this right now.
Does that ever battle you as an atheist?
No, because I accept it.
You just accept it?
I accept it as an archetype, and I allow myself to experience like the irrational side of life without giving into irrationality.
Yeah, but doesn't that kind of end your argument though?
You can't contradict yourself in it, because if you contradict yourself in it, then you're just tearing yourself up. If you contradict yourself and start saying, no, actually there is a God, but not really, but really, yeah.
Okay.
But you can't be like that. What you can say is that there is the archetype of God. In other words, consciously, there's the collective idea of God, right? Which I think is 100% a fact, because like religion is a fucking human universal, and the idea of the God, the one, the creator, all of that is found everywhere. Right. And it's an experience that you can actually have. I mean, there's God fucking parts of the brain, basically, right, where you can sort of and this is what psychedelics do. They make you meet that, right?
But you think it's specifically some type of God thing when it's with...
No, I'm not saying it's a real external thing. I'm saying it's a part of you as a human being.
Oh, right. Okay. Gotcha.
Right, and that it shapes you every bit as much as your conscious life shapes you. Even if we don't realize 100% the influence that it has, but I think there's a lot of deduction that people can make. I highly recommend that you look into some of Jung's. I have a very hard time like getting really good material, like documentaries and shit on Jung.
Okay.
On Freud, it's way easier. Which is a shame, because to me, Jung is a million times more interesting than Freud. He wasn't just like, it's a cock, and you're definitely, subconsciously at least, you're, gay. And you need to get rid of that, repression. You got to bring it out to light.
That's wild.
Basically, come out of the closet so you can go back in, and it'll leave you alone, and you won't be a fag no more. You just won't be sucking tips like that anymore. It just won't work that way. It was I kid, but that's basically it's a lot of sexuality. Obviously, Freud is notorious for that.
Dude was horny.
He was an interesting dude,
Shout out to him, man.
Yeah. He was doing hypnosis for like 10 years. That shit.
No way.
After that, he was like, yo, this is
What are your thoughts on hypnosis?
I mean, hypnosis does happen.
You believe these guys that will pull up and just like...
No, I don't think it's something that you can force somebody to get hypnotized. Hypnosis is something that the person has to want to be hypnotized, and they have to be somebody that's suggestible, meaning that they have some sort of...
Gullibleness?
No, they have an ability to dissociate.
Oh, okay.
So dissociation, right? Like, in fact, dissociative identity disorder, that's what they used to call multiple personality disorder. Oh. So somebody who has that sort of ease dissociating
a little
from reality. So if you can shift your consciousness just a little bit, and you're really good at suspending disbelief, and you can listen to that guy quietly. I've seen people get hypnotized before. Yeah, I've seen. It's very interesting.
And Freud was studying this for 10 years?
Yeah, he was.
And where'd he go with it?
I think he was just shitty at hypnosis.
Yeah.
In part. But I also don't think hypnosis is like I don't think it's like some fucking necessarily some treatment for anything. There's a lot of bullshit in hypnosis where they think about...
Make you stop smoking cigarettes?
Yeah, they're like these memories that you had from when you were a kid. It's like, bro, he doesn't even remember that shit properly, bro. Like...
Damn.
So I question a lot of like memory shit that has to do with that, but that's just because of studies that I've seen when I studied memory.
Any other cool philosophers or...
Dude, I think you gotta exhaust Jung before you go in there. If you read...
What's something else that Carl Jung has
I have his collected works.
Yeah? What's another idea that he had that was cool?
If you were ready for it, you could end up trying to read Psychology and Alchemy.
Psychology and Alchemy?
Yeah.
It's a book by him?
Yeah.
And what does he really explain in it? How the two We're about to end this pod, but
it's hard to say, man. You gotta.
Is it even easy to read?
Terrence McKenna, when he actually spoke at the Young Society, he talks about how he was blown away
by Carl Jung
with that book specifically, right? It was just fucking a shot because he's really diving balls deep into the tradition of alchemy and Hermeticism and Gnosticism and all of these different and the religious side of it and how it actually fulfills an unconscious need, right? So religion actually, and that's why he saw that Christianity was not sufficient for most people. He said that the richest symbolism in Christianity comes in the Catholic Church because they're very symbolic and they have rites, but that need is not being met by Protestantism and other forms of Christianity.
Okay.
Because they're not rich enough in symbolism that captures that missing part. It doesn't integrate the conscious and the subconscious properly the way that like the more pagan religions did. So anyway,
they believe symbols are really that important.
Well, they definitely are.
Yeah.
Symbols make up everything we do. I mean, look at that laptop, right? That's a shitload of symbols right there. And if you didn't understand how to work them, you wouldn't be able to do shit. You know?
No, 100%.
So we're based on symbols. Language is symbols. It's
literally.
It's it's verbal symbols, but it's still symbols using a different sense other than the visual one. You know, we're transmitting our thoughts back and forth
through symbols.
So we're just basically using telepathy. I mean, that's why we're so much better than other species at doing shit. We basically got telepathy. It's a shitty form of telepathy, and we manipulate and we lie, but it's basically telepathy if you really think about it.
Somebody actually believes that. What's your thoughts on telekinesis and shit like that?
Bruh. You give me a few shrooms, and I'll say yes. Right now, I say that's some bullshit.
I forgot where Graham Hancock was talking about it. I think it was in Joe Rogan or some shit.
Yeah, Graham Hancock. I was obsessed with Graham Hancock, by the way, after my first ego death experience.
You indulged into his...
Dude, I was obsessed with ancient Egyptian shit. I was obsessed with meditation. I was obsessed with anything old that had to do with like altered states of consciousness.
Yeah, and he's big on that for sure.
And just a shift in your perspective to change completely how you see reality, shifting consciousness back and forth to be able to compare one form of consciousness to another. You know, and it has to be a considerable shift. It's not like there's all types of altered states of consciousness. You know, like being drunk is an altered state of consciousness. I'm not trying to become enlightened by getting shit-faced. You know what I'm saying? But
he always talks about like back then how they would do like different drugs. There was like the Egyptians would do they would get high off this
the lotus one.
I think it was like a flower or some like type of the liquid from it or some crazy shit. I forgot. But he says, his whole shit is like anthropologists or whatever.
They had a very rich symbolic system. I mean, the Egyptians, bro, that shit is wild.
I mean, do you agree with things that Graham Hancock say? According to like the whole, or at least civilizations were extremely more advanced than we think?
I mean, I can't say for sure, but like I've just been so influenced by him that I'm inclined to believe him.
It's hard to say.
Which is why I don't want to say anything.
Gotcha.
But I do think he had a very good point, especially with Randall Carlson about the Younger Dryas period, especially when he ended up in that debate with Michael Shermer.
I think I might have seen that.
Who he actually took him to task with that one.
Yeah?
Yeah, because Michael Shermer, he was like mad skeptical about it, and he was like
Is he a skeptic or some shit?
I think he's the guy in charge of Skeptic magazine right now.
That's what I'm saying.
He's a historian of science. You know? So yeah, I respect Michael Shermer, like he knows his shit, and
skepticism is something
I did
else.
think that in the long run, at least in terms of the Younger Dryas period, Graham Hancock and Randall Carlson definitely outdid him in that one. Randall Carlson is an amazing guy. He has like a 2-hour video by this YouTube channel called After School.
Okay.
Where he's like this after school, he's like animates a shitload of things, makes into like a cartoon, and he has like this fucking sacred geometry thing or some shit.
Gotcha.
Where they explain the sacred geometry in terms of like the mystery religions from back then and how they saw those symbols, and
Shit, but Graham Hancock even believes in fucking... What was it called? The underwater shit, Atlantis and shit. Wasn't there some part that he believed in that too?
Oh yeah. No.
Where he said that Plato's had a story that was similar to like it was on the same day that
Plato has a story that was given to him by a family member, an elder family member, which was given to him by an Egyptian.
Okay.
And from the Egyptians back then, because Plato, all these guys were like they were inducted into the mysteries. They were not regular people like Pythagoras, who was way older, but Pythagoras.
All these dudes that we talk about, the philosophers, they were treated as fucking...
I mean, they were definitely... they weren't slaves or anything like that.
Right.
They were wealthy. They were property owners. Gotcha. They were respected people. Like, for example, a lot of people don't know...
Marcus Aurelius, all these dudes, right?
That was the emperor. I mean...
He was the emperor.
Straight up. I mean, and if you look at, like, even Socrates, he was a war vet, actually.
It was a war vet?
Yeah, actually, there was a war back then, and he actually contemplated a lot during that time.
Damn.
And, yeah.
Shit. What were you saying? I completely forgot what we were...
Graham Hancock, and we were talking about Atlantis.
Oh, yeah, that Plato's had a story about from some dude that told him, and then, like, Graham Hancock said, like, the same day that the shit happened, it was, like, a big fucking tsunami or some crazy event with water, I don't know, in the ocean or something.
Yeah, that adds a lot of support to, like, his, the younger dryas theory, which is, like, if you go back, like, 12,500 years ago... or BC, I can't even forget, which is hugely important because that's like a 2,000 year difference. But whatever, you get the point. In the younger Dryas period, there was the thaw from the ice age, from the last ice age that we had.
Okay.
And of course, you would expect that during the thaw, when all that ice is melting, well, it's possible that this could have been what happened. There may have been tectonic shifts at the same time while that melting was occurring, which may have actually caused it to happen faster than it should have happened if there were earthquakes at the same time as that was happening. Well, you can imagine why there would be a whole bunch of stories. In the Bible, for example, you get the story of Noah's Ark, where there's God floods the earth and all that shit.
Crazy shit that happened like that, right.
And in a bunch of other cultures, you have that sort of myth of the flood.
Which is hard to fucking debate because it's like all these fucking places of life say or kind of agree on this moment or some shit that happened that's like unfucking believable.
Yeah.
But underwater civilization is fucking insane. Like, fuck, I was gonna... Have you... Before we end this, how much are we on already? I know we've been potting for a minute. Ice Ages.
Yeah.
The Elon Musk was talking about it on I forgot what podcast he was, but there was like he was talking about how like there's like a whole rabbit hole about ice ages and shit.
Yeah, there's been a few of them.
And it's like
a lot of them actually, but
and it's like has to do with a lot of maybe will there be an ice age in the future?
Definitely.
How long will that be?
I don't know. I think maybe a part of that has to do with like the shift of the Earth's axis or some shit. But I'm a fucking retard when it comes to that. I mean, if I was gonna try to tell you that, bro, like I'd be
that's
way
insane,
out of hand.
Bro. The whole fucking Earth is just freezing. Like that's insane.
It's amazing.
Yeah, I don't know much about it. I just thought you knew. I brought it up. But yeah, guys. Whew, I'm tired. We potted.
We definitely potted. Yeah.
Episode 51. We'll be back next week.
Let's fucking go.
I didn't have much topics today, guys, so we try to work with what we got. But yeah, life is sweet. I'm trying to end it with a bang.
Bang, bang.
End it. End your day with some...
Go fuck a fat bitch and follow your dreams. Peace.
Peace.